I'll be back in an hour to check you again.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
What? Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Elizabeth, also known as Nurse Zabe, here on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok, and I am a labor and delivery nurse, postpartum nurse, certified childbirth educator, and mom to 3. And today I am coming at you guys with a video that I have been wanting to film for a really long time, or rather a series of videos that I've been wanting to film for a really long time. What we are going to be doing today is I am going to be watching the episode of Friends, season 8, episode 23, where Rachel goes to the hospital to give birth to her first baby. I have done some reaction videos on labor and delivery and postpartum in the past. I did one on The Office that I am a big fan of, but the reason why I want to start doing some reactions to movies and TVs in regards to labor and delivery stuff is because that is where a lot of people are getting their information when they come to the hospital. They might be like, oh my gosh, this is nothing like what I expected. And what they expected is either something that they saw on a TV show or in a movie. So I want to tell you what they get right. I want to tell you what maybe we could work on, and I want to tell you how you can use this information to have your best birth ever. So let's go ahead and jump into it.
All right, yes! From home to the hospital in under 7 minutes. We did it.
Yes, the hard part is truly over.
Okay, so very clearly here we've got Rachel, who I think her water broke in the last episode, and Ross, who is her support person and all of their friends. Rachel's getting wheeled in on a wheelchair, which if you're good to walk, you're totally fine to just walk into labor and delivery. Sometimes people need the wheelchair if things are feeling really intense and they can't walk, but most of the time people just walk up now. And I love that Ross is like planning and prepping and done test runs to get to the hospital in time. It's really good to be cognizant of how far you are from your preferred birthing location so that you kind of know when about you should leave to get there in time.
Hi, this is Rachel Green. I'm Ross Geller. We called from the car.
Right. We have a semi-private labor room waiting for you. So we're just
Whoa. I'm sorry. Semi-private? We asked for a private room.
Yes, I see that here. Unfortunately, we can't guarantee a private room, and currently they're all unavailable.
So this episode of Friends, I believe, was filmed in like 2002. There has been a big shift in making all labor rooms private across the United States since this has been filmed. I have worked in a facility about 10 years ago where the postpartum rooms, some of them were semi-private. And what that means is that you are gonna have a buddy in that postpartum room with you, another patient who has given birth and is there with their support person in the postpartum room. But in general, we don't really see semi-private labor rooms because we know that that is not really conducive with supporting labor hormones to have somebody else in the room with you. And also, with COVID and everything, we know that pushing is an aerosolizing procedure. So I think that most places in the United States have really tried to not have semi-private labor rooms. But if you have delivered somewhere in the United States or not with a semi-private labor room, definitely let us know about it down in the comments.
Oh gosh, whoa.
What?
Oh, ow, contraction, ow.
Would you like to see a semi-private room?
Yeah, it couldn't hurt to look.
Okay, so there was Rachel feeling her very first contraction. Interesting choice that she felt the contraction and had the urge to sit down. For most people, you're gonna feel a contraction and have the urge to stand up and move your body. And I think throughout a lot of this, we're gonna be seeing a lot of laboring in the bed, laboring lying down, laboring in ways that maybe aren't the most supportive for helping your baby to come down using gravity. So we'll definitely probably have more comments on that later.
You're only 2 centimeters dilated and we need to get to 10. It'll be a while. Okay. I'll be back in an hour to check you again.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
What? Okay, so Rachel's just got an exam from her provider who said, oh, you're only 2 centimeters dilated and you need to get to 10. First of all, that is not a full assessment. When we're looking at the cervix, there is so many things that we're assessing to know where we are in labor. Yes, dilation's important, but there's lots of other things. Effacement, or how thin your cervix is. Dilation, how open your cervix is. Station, or where is your baby, your pelvis. And then also knowing too, is your cervix getting nice and soft and ready for labor? Has it come forward in your vagina? Has your baby started to rotate into an optimal birth position? Are all ways that we can measure labor change. I have a whole video how we measure labor change and other signs that are non-invasive, like a cervical exam. The other thing is Rachel's water is broken. So if you come to the hospital and your water is broken and you're not in labor yet, there's a good chance that we won't check your cervix because we don't want to introduce infection. We're definitely not going to be checking it every hour. That is a great way to give you chorioamnionitis, aka an infection of the uterus that we want to avoid because that's not good for you or for baby. And even if your water's not broken, there's no reason to be checking you super regularly because it does not give us really great information and it is uncomfortable and it puts you at a risk for infection. So that's a big no-no in my book. The other thing that I want to chat about is the fact that at 2 centimeters, potentially, even with ruptured membranes, you might have the option to go home and continue laboring at home. This is going to be based on your facility's policies and procedures. This is also going to be based on what's going on as far as a group B strep positive or negative status if you're needing antibiotics in your labor. But you might not need to stay in the hospital, and we actually might encourage you to go home to be in your own natural bacteria and to be in your own space where you might feel the most safe and comfortable.
Never done this before.
Yeah, well, it looks great.
Okay, that I think is a classic friend scene. Ross has got his legs up in the stirrup. I'm gonna tell you something. Stirrups are helpful and useful after your baby's born, maybe when we're waiting on the placenta. They are helpful and useful maybe if you need a repair, if there's a laceration or tear that your provider needs to sew back up. They are helpful and useful if your legs are really, really tired during the pushing stage. But I actually will encourage you to ask to not use stirrups. In my personal opinion, and the opinion of many other in my profession, stirrups are a form of restraints, and also it's really important that we are changing positions every 15 minutes when pushing. We are in positions that help free the sacrum and allow your sacrum to move up out of the way. That creates about 20% more space for your baby to come out, and that we are utilizing gravity, if we can, to help your baby to be born. So
Hey, I opened this early, but let me give you guys some privacy.
No nonsense. We're all in this together.
Yeah, we are going to share every moment of this with you. And I think we're going to have some fun.
Yeah.
oh my gosh, I have to say that would be so me if I was in a semi-private room laboring with somebody and I wasn't really in labor yet. I'd be like, oh my gosh, let me tell you everything. They'd be like, please stop. And honestly, sometimes that's what this channel is like.
Oh, Ross, here comes another contraction.
Oh, okay, just breathe.
Oh, honey, I think I'm having one too.
Interesting. Contracting together, I could see maybe there's some oxytocin flowing in the room. I did see Rachel really tense up her shoulders, and while she was still breathing, we all should really focus on relaxing our jaw and our vocal cords and our shoulders and not holding tension here, because a lot of times we have tension that will mirror this tension in our pelvic floor, which makes contractions more painful, and it makes it more difficult for baby to rotate and make their way down into the birth canal.
Am I interrupting?
Yes, thank you.
So labor and delivery is going to be a locked unit. Nobody should be able to come to your room or your bedside unexpectedly without you letting them in. Even with our COVID restrictions lifting in most hospitals, there's still going to be some communication between the secretary or the nurse and you to make sure that it's okay for those people to come back, and we can always be super restrictive if that's what you want or need. If you want your mother-in-law or the mother of the father of the baby there, that's totally fine. If you're like, no way, Jose, that's totally fine too. We've got your back.
What's that?
New people.
What happened to the disgusting tins?
They're having their baby. It's not fair, Ross. I got here first. Right after you left, they wheeled her off into delivery. Oh, but not before she gave me a nice juicy shot of little Jamie just crowning away.
Okay, so this is a variation from what we're normally seeing as well, where you labor in one room and then you actually deliver in another room. That makes a little bit more sense as far as the shared room things go, but in general now we labor and deliver in one room, and in some facilities you labor, deliver, and then do your whole postpartum stay all in that one room, which makes things a lot easier and a lot less stressful, remembering that we want to keep that adrenaline stress hormone down during our laboring process. Also, I just want to say it's not uncommon for you, if it's your first baby, to go in and for things obviously to take a little bit longer than somebody who is laboring with their third baby. So all things to keep in mind.
What?
He's looking at me.
Hi! You want to live to see your baby?
Don't you talk to my husband like that, you stupid bastard.
Okay, so much wrong with this right here. What do we need in labor to help our labor hormones progress labor? We need to feel safe. We need to feel unwatched and undisturbed. Rachel is feeling none of these things right now. And also, that other laboring person is feeling hostile and angry and is definitely in her sympathetic nervous system, her fight or flight, with whoever is with her to support her. Maybe we need to kick him out and get somebody else in, because this isn't good for anybody in this room. And all the lights are on. I'm just not happy. I'm not happy here.
The nurse said to bring in another woman.
She pregnant yet? She doesn't need to be. She'll still have the baby before I do.
Okay. Finally! Rachel is in an upright position. She's leaning over the bed. Her uterus is going to act as a hammock to help baby settle into a really good position. I'm loving this position for Rachel. Yay for being out of the bed. Also, she is not on continuous monitoring. They've got it there, I can see, but it looks like she's getting some intermittent monitoring. Very progressive for the early 2000s.
That's it.
Oh, that sounded like a bad one.
Yeah, it was.
Mine haven't been so bad. Oh, here comes one now.
Okay, I loved that position. We were still seeing a lot of tension with Rachel, but when she leaned back onto Ross to allow her body to move, I loved that. I also loved this other laboring person coming in and making that weird little noise. I don't want to classify it as weird, but it's meant to be comical, right? Not necessarily how I would deal with a contraction, but we each find our own way to do it to help keep us relaxed. And she seems super relaxed, so A+ on her.
3 women have come and gone with their babies. You gotta give me some good news. How many centimeters am I dilated? 8, 9, 3.
Just 3? I'm dilated 3.
Okay, so it's looking like Rachel is hooked back up to continuous monitoring. This is 17 hours that she's been in the hospital. She has seen other people come and go in their labors to the delivery room. The lights have been on this whole time. She has not been getting any rest. She's probably exhausted. Her contractions do not seem super close together. If she were my patient and she were in the hospital, what I would have done is encouraged her to get a really good nap in, and then we would be doing some strategic position changes to help baby get into the best position possible to get labor moving and progressing on its own. I'm thinking some really good hip circles on the ball. I'm thinking maybe some side lying release to help lengthen that pelvic floor temporarily. I'm thinking all sorts of movements that are calculating up in here that if she were game for it and wanted to try, we would do, while also making sure that we are getting a little bit of rest, we are enhancing those labor hormones, making her feel safe, undisturbed, unwatched, all of those good things. Basically the opposite of everything that's been happening thus far in her laboring process.
Hey, you know what? I'm not waiting. I'm gonna push this baby out. I'm doing it. I mean, it's what, 3 centimeters? That's gotta be like this, right?
Actually, it's more like this.
Oh, stupid metric system.
It's hard. It's really hard to be patient and to trust your body in a slow laboring process. But remember, early labor can take time. Your body's doing a lot of things in early labor to prepare for your baby to come. It's thinning out your cervix. It's moving your baby down in the pelvis. It's bringing your cervix forward. It's softening your cervix, and then it's opening and dilating. So while she may have only dilated 1 centimeter, her body probably has done a lot of other really good work as well. Oh
no. This is so great. We're gonna be baby buddies.
Squeeze your legs together and cover the baby's ears.
Oh, that laugh is not making me feel safe.
Oh, I feel another one coming.
Everyone's birth song is a little bit different. Hopefully yours will be a little bit more separated from another individual in the same room as you. Okay, so that was part 1. Let's review a little bit. Rachel is in the hospital in early labor. Her body is doing its very best work that it can to open her cervix, but our cervix has to do a lot of things before it opens. What are some things that Rachel and Ross could be doing to help support labor hormones? Turn off the lights, get some rest, and then when things get more intense, let's get up and move the body, changing positions every 30 minutes, helping that baby with gravity to come down on the cervix and open it up. Keeping those privacy curtains drawn so that we can keep out extra people, extra noises, so that Rachel is feeling safe, unwatched, undisturbed, loved, and has pressure on the cervix. These are all things that Rachel could be doing in early labor to help speed things up. But my number 1 tip for early labor is to ignore labor until you can't ignore it anymore. So in this case, getting some sleep and rest is probably what Rachel should have started off with, maybe even before heading to the hospital. Always, of course, checking with your provider first and making sure that you have time to get to your preferred birthing location. Okay, so we are going to be back for the next part of this video in my next video, so definitely tune in. Make sure that you thumbs up and subscribe to my channel and all those good things. And until next time, bye guys!